Welcome back to Computer Organization course. Today we will study one more topic under Module 5, Generating Control Signals. Here in this module we have already studied single bus architecture and multiple bus architecture. So these topics are already done. Under Generating Control Signals, today we will study hardware controlled and micro programmed control. So these two topics comes under generating control signals. So before starting hardwired or microprogram control, let us see what is control signal. Okay. So here is I have given a complete execution of instruction add R3 contents with R1. That is R3 we consider as address. So this you are familiar with this instruction. Now we know how to write control sequence for the particular instruction. We have studied this in first part of the module 5. So here I will explain some terminologies which might be helpful for you for further explanation. So this is called an instruction. We know this very well. This is called instruction. Add content of memory location whose address is in R3 with content of R1 register itself. So now this is called instruction. Then whatever we have written here is called control sequence. Overall it is called control sequence. Now there are numbers given on this side 7. These are called steps. That means to execute add instruction which I have written, it takes 7 steps for a processor to completely execute that instruction. So this control sequence has 7 steps. That means add content of address located at R3 with R1 content. That complete instruction takes 7 different steps in order to execute it completely. What do we call? Look at the every single step here. In every single, I will consider first step for example. In the first step, in order to execute the add instruction I have written, there are various basic steps that has to be executed by the processor. The various basic steps. So nothing but PC out, then MAR in, read, select for, add as well as Z in. So when processor executes all these different basic steps at exactly first step of the add instruction, then it works well. So similarly processor has responsibility of executing various basic steps at different steps of the add instruction in order to execute add instruction completely. So if you see, I can ask you one simple question. Instead of executing Z in here in the first step of the add instruction execution, if processor execute this Z in during second step here, we can easily tell that the instruction execution goes wrong. This is what we have studied in first part of this module, writing control sequences. Here writing every basic step in a particular step of the control sequence is very important. We cannot randomly write basic steps in any of the control sequence steps. Then that add instruction do not get executed successfully. So it should be you should keep this in your mind throughout this video that processor has a responsibility of executing any basic step, okay, at a particular step of the control sequence or at the particular stage. I can say roughly we can say the stage. Okay, that means read basic step read has to be executed at the fourth step of add instruction, right? End should be executed at the seventh step of add instruction. Similarly run out should be executed at the fifth step of add instruction. So this is what we call control sequence. Now what is the use of writing these control sequences? These control sequences are already taught to the processor. The processor architectures or those who manufacture processor, they will identify every possible combination of instructions Okay, we list out the processor who manufacture, they list out all possible instructions that has to be executed by the processor. It is called instruction set, very important word. It's called instruction set. So what is instruction set? Instruction set is nothing but all instruction that processor can execute, a list of all instruction. Now when I say all instruction, for example add instruction, right? So when I say all instruction, there will be not, I am not talking about only one instruction like add. When I say add instruction in instruction set, then there will be multiple add instructions. Why? Because see, look at the parent operands here. Here operand is right, R1 and R3. That I can programmer can execute one more add instruction where like this, add R1 comma R2. Now this add instruction is different than the first add instruction. Why? The combination of operands are different. What do you call for that combination of operands? The combination of operands are called addressing modes. This is very important. Addressing modes. So based on various, see this addressing mode is called register indirect addressing mode, where one operand is register, one more operand is register considered as address. When I use add R1 comma R2, then it is called register addressing mode. So there are various type of addressing modes to mention operands to a instruction. So when you say add instruction, there are multiple add instructions based on various combination of addressing modes. So when I say instruction set, it will support in general, I can say in complex instruction set computer, CISC. In CISC type of processors, you can have around 15,000 of instructions under instruction set. Those are not unique 15,000 instructions, but those are repeated instructions with different possible combination of operands. So when I say instruction set, you must know that there are different same instruction with different possible combination of operands. So all possible combination of operands of an instruction and all instructions, right, together called instruction set. Okay, when I say instruction set, add instruction will be repeated for different possible operands. Similarly, every instruction which you study are repeated for various different possible operands or addressing modes. Okay, so instruction set will have thousands of instructions where all the instructions that a user or programmer can use are listed. Now once we list all instruction set, instruction set or all the possible instructions, we write control sequence for all possible instructions in the instruction set. Yeah, this is a very big process, but we have to do it. Now probably your Intel i3 or i7 supports more than 15,000 instructions. All instructions, right? We have to write control sequence for, okay, all instructions in the instruction set. I hope what is the instruction set you have understood this. So we write control sequence for every instruction in the instruction set. Okay. Now once we have a control sequence, if user there is any instruction a programmer has used and it is under execution, for example add R3 comma R1, whatever the instruction I have written here. So processor already knows this control sequence because it is written in the processor. Okay, it is already taught to the processor, right? Because all possible instruction combinations we have written control sequences. Now whatever it may be, see the information, right? It's just a information. When I say control sequence, it is just a information. Processor knows that ZIN should be executed at the first stage or first step of, right, during execution of add R3 comma R1. So now processor know what are the basic steps here that it has to be execute at various steps of the add instruction which I have written. But what these are all are information. Now what is a processor? Processor is a hardware device. Processor works on electronic signals, right? When you say 1, that is actually electronically it is plus 5 volt. When you say 0, it is 0 volt. So when I am sending binary value from one side to another side, I am passing a particular voltage or electronic signal to another end which represents binary 1. So it is very important to understand what is control signal. So before going to control signal, let me clear all these things again. Okay, I'll quickly refresh all these things I have just explained you. So you must know what is instruction set, that is IS. Okay, so it is a list of all possible instructions. Okay, there might be repeated instructions, all instructions will be repeated for various possible combinations of operands or addressing modes. So instruction set will have huge number of instructions. For every instructions we have in the instruction set, we will write control sequence, or we will teach this to the processor, control sequence. E instruction do control sequence idu, and adana we will code right into the processor. Now this is control sequence is nothing but the information. It is the information where processor comes to know that what are the basic steps like read, WMFC, PC in, Y in, all these basic steps. Processor comes to know that for a particular instruction when we have to execute a particular basic step under which step of the control sequence. Okay. Now why there is a these, what exactly these steps represent, steps of the control sequence represent? There is a one significance here, that is we know that every step of a control sequence for any instruction should be executed within one clock cycle. That means the add instruction I have written here has 7 steps, means my add instruction takes 7 clock cycle in order to get executed completely. Okay. So that means if the first clock cycle processor has to execute Z in, PC out, MAR in, read, select for and add. At the second clock cycle, second clock cycle when compared at the beginning of the add instruction, when add instruction starts getting executed, from there we are counting clock cycle. Okay. So at the second clock cycle, processor knows that Z out should be executed, PC in should be executed, Y in should be executed, WMFC should be executed. So in general, what is control sequence? It is the information given to the processor for a particular instruction which is under execution, which basic steps should be executed at which clock cycle. So I hope this is very clear. This is very important, that every step of control sequence must be executed in one clock cycle. So after the execution starts, for example, after add instruction execution starts, at the 6th clock cycle, processor has to execute MDR out basic step, select Y basic step, add basic step and Z in basic step. These are the basic steps. Okay, and these are the steps which has to be executed in a one clock cycle. Means at the first clock cycle all these basic steps should be executed. At the second clock cycle all these basic steps should be executed. So now I hope you are very familiar with what is control sequence, what is instruction set and what are basic steps and what is relation between step of control cycle and a clock cycle. Every step must be executed in one clock cycle. So if you consider step 4, R3 out, MAR in and read, all 3 basic steps should be executed within one clock cycle at clock cycle 4. Okay, after add instruction starts execution. So this is how what it is taught to the processor. That's what it is called control sequence. Now there are a lot of questions you might get. I'll answer at the end. Now, if you clearly observe here, when I say, for example, at the 3rd clock cycle of add instruction which I have written, its execution, during its execution, at the 3rd clock cycle, processor has to execute IR in. Correct? No, MDR out also should be executed and IR in should be executed within that one clock cycle, that is 3rd clock cycle. Okay, we will concentrate on IR in, MDR out, it's okay, leave it. So when I say at 3rd clock cycle processor has to execute IR in, what is actually IR in? What are these basic steps? What is MAR in, what is read, what is WMFC, or what is Y in, what is R3 out, what are these things? These are the small tasks processor has to do with respect to its single bus or multiple bus organization. Okay, so let me go to the second slide and I'll explain you. So here is a single bus organization. Okay, this is figure number 2. I have given figure numbers here so that in future when I refer figure numbers, you can easily find out about which figure I am talking about. So this is a single bus organization. We have already studied in the previous part of this module, in my first video of this module. Now I was explaining that during execution of add instruction, I have written at fourth clock cycle, processor has to execute IR in, right? IR in. What is the meaning of IR in? IR in means there is a register called instruction register IR, and you should let whatever the data present on the bus, should let that data enter the IR. Right, there will be gate here, we have to turn on that gate so that data from the bus enters instruction register. Did you observe this? Whenever say basic step like MAR in, IR in, Z out, Z in, add or select for, all the basic steps you write in control sequences, any basic step is nothing but a small work that processor has to do at that particular clock cycle as mentioned in the control sequence. It's a work has to be done, right? It's just a small task. So when I say Z in, processor has to open a closed gate between ALU and Z register so that whatever the data coming out of the ALU enters the Z register. So now what is this task? Why I am explaining basic step in terms of task or work? Because that has to be done electronically. When I say, when processor comes to know that at fourth clock cycle, for example, at the first clock cycle, processor has to open Z in, means processor should allow data output from ALU to enter Z register. That is Z in. That process has to do at the first clock cycle of add instruction which I have written. That means, do you think there is a person inside the processor who go and turn on that Z in gate here and allow ALU output to enter Z in? Is there any watchman? No. So how exactly it happens? It happens electronically, right? There will be a circuit which is responsible for turning the gate on so that the signals, electronic signals, okay, which we call output of ALU, enters Z register, right? It enters Z register. So the opening the path for ALU output to enter Z register or closing the path, every basic step we discuss in the control sequence is a work, and it will be done through the circuits, right, designed. Okay, there will be circuit designed for doing all these basic steps. So when I say Z in, there is a circuit designed in the processor which electronically opens, right, using electronics, electronically. You have designed lot of electronic circuits in your logic design lab, right? In your logic design lab or analog and digital electronics lab, we do a lot of circuits, right? We create adder circuit, we create subtractor circuit. Similarly, it is all, see, when you create adder, when you create a subtractor, when you create a JK master flip-flop circuit, all these circuits works on electronic signal, correct? No, 1 or 0, isn't it? So similarly, when I create a Z in circuit, a circuit, electronic circuit which is responsible to open Z register input so that ALU output can be entered Z register and then close it later. So we design a circuit for it, a physical circuit which you can touch and feel, and this circuit has to be activated. When I say during add instruction which I have given, during its execution, during first clock cycle, processor must execute basic step Z in. That means when add instruction is under execution, during first clock cycle of the add instruction, processor must activate a circuit which actually, right, allows ALU output to enter Z register. There is a circuit designed to do every basic step physically. I repeat, there are different circuits for different basic steps in order to complete that task. So when I said Z in, there is a Z circuit which actually makes work physically using electronic signals, electronic circuit. When I say IR out or sorry IR in, for example, here there is a circuit, okay, which is responsible to open the gate of instruction register IR so that data from the bus enters the instruction register. So there are circuits for every basic steps that has to be executed. Now what processor has to do exactly when instruction is getting executed? So when instruction is getting executed, processor go and check its control sequence of that particular instruction, control sequence of that particular instruction, which is already stored by the processor manufacturers. Then you, based on the control sequence, that is the information, processor comes to know that using that control sequence at various clock cycle it has to execute various basic steps. Now there are circuits, electronic circuits to execute all those basic steps. I will show in next diagram, it will be very clear. So look at this diagram. This is an imaginary diagram I have drawn so that you can understand the concepts, what's happening when an execution instruction is executed. So here there is a processor at the center, right? So you can see this processor here and various parts, right, other parts which supports processor for instruction execution like memory, registers, input or ALU, output. Okay, that spelling is, there is a mistake, okay, you can understand, no problem. And now there are something I have written within red color boxes. What are these? These are also hardware parts. Did you see memory is a hardware, registers are hardware, input is a hardware, right? ALU, output, everything is a hardware here. Because entire computer is an electronic device, a hardware. Now there is some names I have written inside a red color box. These are the circuits again. Why I have given red color? Because I am discussing about those parts here. Now there is a circuit called PC out here, okay. So when I say PC out, just a minute, yeah, okay. So when I say PC out circuit, see it is connected to the processor. There is a line connected to the processor. Here the PC out circuit. So when processor fetch an instruction for execution and finds out its control sequence, and for example, let me take an example. At 4th clock cycle, processor has to execute PC out. Okay. Then what processor has to do? Processor has to send here a signal to the PC out register at 4th clock cycle, so that PC out circuit starts working. When I say PC out circuit starts working, what does it mean? Its PC out circuit goes to PC register and opens its gate and allow whatever the content is there in the PC register to be, right, flow on bus, single bus. Suppose if during execution of an instruction, processor look at its control sequence and realize that at first clock cycle ZIN basic step must be executed. Then processor sends a signal to the ZIN circuit, right, a signal to the ZIN circuit. Okay, that signal enables ZIN circuit. Enabling ZIN circuit means what? That circuit starts working, and what is the purpose of that circuit? It goes to Z register, opens the gate and allows ALU data to be enter Z register. So all those circuits which are responsible to execute basic steps physically, right, electronically, will be waiting for the processor to get a signal when it has to start working, and processor activates those circuits based on the control sequence, looking at which clock cycle that particular circuit must be executed. So now what is all about generating control signal? What is control signal? Control signals are these blue color lines, right? A signal sent by a processor to a particular circuit responsible for executing basic step physically. That signal indicates the circuit that you have to start working now. That is the thing. So for every clock cycle, look at, right, that's how it works. Okay. So ultimately I will conclude my basic introduction of this video here. Whenever there is an instruction under execution, processor go and check its control sequence and finds out which particular basic steps has to be executed at which particular clock cycle. During that particular clock cycle, processor sends signals to respective circuits. Suppose if Z in must be executed at first clock cycle, PC out must be executed at second clock cycle. That is the thing. For example, Z in and Z in and MAR, these two, Z in and MAR in must be executed at first clock cycle. Then processor sends signal at first clock cycle to these two circuits, right? And that indicates those two circuits that you have to work now. That means MAR must be in, Z in must be happen physically. Z in must happen physically or electronically. MAR in must happen physically or electronically. So there are the circuits to work physically. The what should be achieved for a basic step. Processor has to only inform that circuit at which clock cycle it start working. So ultimately, whatever the signal it sends is either 1 or 0. Right? For example, first clock cycle. Look at the first clock cycle. Imagine in first clock cycle only Z in and MAR in must be executed. Z in and MAR in must be executed. Then what processor does is for Z in processor sends a signal called 1 and MAR in processor sends signal called 1 at first clock cycle, and for all other circuits it sends signal called 0. Right? So those circuits which receives 0 signal at first clock cycle, they do not work, they just wait. Right? They are in idle, that circuits don't work. Those signals at first clock cycle, those circuits like Z in and MAR in, which received 1 from the processor during first clock cycle, they immediately works. That Z in, right? Z in circuit allows data from ALU to enter Z. Similarly, MAR in circuit which allows, right, data on the bus to enter MAR register. So for every clock cycle, I will repeat, for every clock cycle, based on the control sequence written for that instruction, processor has to send a signal called 1 or 0, right, enable or disable or whatever you can say, a signal to every basic step circuits, right, whether it has to work now or it should not work at that particular clock cycle. So that is those signals 1s and 0s we send to every basic step circuits at every clock cycle is called control signals. Control signals, right? So here control signal in this example, for ALU is 0, PC out is 0, Z out is 0, only for MAR in and Z in it is sent 1 and 1, all other 0, because during first clock cycle only those two circuits must work. So this is entire signal from all 0 and 2 1s in a particular pattern, they call it as, we call control signal. You must remember that for every clock cycle it has to send control signal for various basic step circuits, whether that particular clock cycle these should be worked or should not work. Okay, this is called control signals, and there are two types of way to generate it. How processor generates 1s or 0s to indicate a particular basic step circuit, whether it should work or it should not work at a particular clock cycle. There are two ways. Okay, there are looking at the control sequence to generate control signals for various basic step circuits. Here, right, whatever I have written in red color box. So you have to look at, processor has to look at control sequence and send signals, control signals to various circuit, which has to work, which should not work, basic step circuits, right? That process can be done using two way. One is called hardwired control, one is called microprogram control. So let us see hardwired control at the beginning. So let us start with hardwired control. To understand hardwired control, let me take few instructions here, so that control sequence of few instructions. So because see in hardwired control, there will be a small circuit designed, okay, in order to generate a control sequence for every basic step circuit. That means let us take Z in. So Z in is a basic step that processor has to execute at different clock cycles of different instructions. Like in add instruction, it has to execute it at first clock cycle or fourth clock cycle. If it is a different instruction, Z in may be executed at some other clock cycles, or in some instructions Z in need not to be executed. It depends on all the instructions. But in hardwired control, there is a separate circuit. Okay, I am not talking of the circuits which physically executes ZIN process or ZIN task. Okay, there is a circuit which physically executes basic step like ZIN, that is different. To generate the control segments, to inform the ZIN circuit whether it has to work at this particular clock cycle or not. To generate that control signal, there is a separate circuit, okay, which verifies which is the clock cycle right now happening and which is this instruction. Okay, that circuit verifies whether it is add instruction and whether it is the first clock cycle of the add instruction. If yes, then that circuit sends 1 to the ZIN circuit. So I will explain it. Let us see hardwired control. So here I will take a few example of instructions which we already discussed in previous part or first part, beginning of this part, because I told you in complex instruction set, CISC machines like Intel, there will be around 15,000 possible combinations of instructions. Instruction set is very huge. Even in a RISC machine like reduced instruction set computer, there are hundreds of different possible instructions combinations. So all instructions I cannot consider, it is completely impractical. We'll take 1 or 2 instructions and understand how to design a hardwired control to generate control signals to activate various basic step circuits at various clock cycles. Now let us see one instruction which is very familiar to us, add instruction with operands R3 and R1. This is one possible of add instruction, right? There is various add instructions possible based on different parameter we pass or operands we pass. So this is one add instruction. Look at this add instruction. Doesn't matter which instruction, other than add instruction, any instruction, first 3 steps are same. I think I have explained this in my first part of this module, okay, first video in this module. While writing control sequences, I have explained you to, if you take any instruction, first 3 clock cycles are similar. Why? Because in first 3 clock cycles are utilized to fetch that instruction from the memory and place it in IR register in order to decode it, right? Instructions are decoded after it reaches instruction register. So you take any instruction, first 3 clock cycles are similar, okay. So this point you have to keep in mind. So now in this add instruction, so what is the use of this, that first 3 clock cycles are same in every instruction? Because let us see ZIN, okay, we'll concentrate on ZIN. We can take any basic step, we'll concentrate ZIN, okay. So I'm talking about designing a circuit which generates control signal for ZIN and activates ZIN circuit which physically executes ZIN, right, opens ZIN and allows ALU to store its data in Z register. That is very clear. So now hard here, see, when you consider ZIN, it is easy to identify that doesn't matter which instruction you are executing, in every instruction first clock cycle ZIN must be executed. The ZIN circuit must be activated, or ZIN circuit should work at the first clock cycle of every instruction, because first 3 clock cycle for every instruction is same. Okay, I am only concentrating on basic step ZIN. Okay, you can also take example of other basic step like PC out, MRI, anything. Okay, so now look at one thing, always remember, irrespective of the instructions, ZIN must be worked or ZIN must be happen. Okay, ZIN must be happen or ZIN task must be executed at the first clock cycle of every instruction. That is the one thing. Second thing, particularly in add instruction which I have given here, in this instruction, like every other instruction, first clock cycle ZIN must happen or ZIN must be executed a task. Also ZIN must be executed at 6th clock cycle for add instruction I have given, right? The add instruction I have given, ZIN must also be executed at 6th clock cycle. Remember, for every instruction ZIN should be executed at first clock cycle. Specifically for add instruction I have given, ZIN must be executed at 6th clock cycle. Nowhere else we are using ZIN, right? You remember this. Okay, 6th clock cycle. For this add instruction, ZIN must be executed at 6th clock cycle, right? Now I will go to one more instruction. Yeah, here there is one more instruction called branch instruction. This is also we are familiar with this instruction because we have executed in previous part, right, in the first video of the module. Now look at this again. I told you ZD, irrespective of any instruction, ZIN must be executed at first clock cycle, right? Because to fetch that instruction, in order to fetch that instruction, ZIN must be executed. But specifically to the branch instruction, ZIN should also be executed at fourth clock cycle. Okay, if it is an add instruction, ZIN must be executed at 6th clock cycle. If it is a branch instruction, then it must be executed at 4th clock cycle. Consider all 15,000 instructions in Intel, or lot of huge number of instructions, right? Different possible combinations of instructions in instruction set. All the instructions present in instruction set, you must know when ZIN should be executed specifically to every instruction. Like the previous add instruction I have given, ZIN must be executed at 6th clock cycle. In this branch instruction I have given here in the control sequences, ZIN must be executed 4th clock cycle, and all 15,000 instructions you must know when at which clock cycle ZIN must be executed, because we know control sequences of all possible instructions, right? Now, and also ZIN must be executed at first clock cycle of every instruction. So now let us see how we can design a hardwired control, means how we can physically design something to generate a control signal for ZIN circuit. The control signal which tells ZIN circuit when it should work, which clock cycle it should work, or at which clock cycle it should keep quiet. Okay, let me explain. Go to next slide. Yeah, here see, this is how I am trying to generate control signal for ZIN, right? Control signal for ZIN. Now this is the hardwired control. That is, hardwired means there is a circuit we have actually designed, physical circuit using gates we have designed, okay, to generate control signal. Okay, in microprogram control there is no physical circuit we have to design. I will explain this later again. See here, whatever the control signal we have to generate, we have to transfer it to if you have seen my previous slides, right, there is a ZIN circuit. Do you remember? Processor, out of processor there is a ZIN circuit which is responsible to physically execute ZIN or electronically execute ZIN. Go to Z register, open its gate, allow ALE output, enter the Z. So there is a circuit here, right? This is ZIN circuit, and this is the whole circuit is inside the processor. Okay, I hope you are understanding this, right? So this is inside the processor, and this is a circuit, ZIN circuit, which actually makes ZIN happen physically. Okay, so this is difference you should know. So this is a signal we have to transfer. I think you have seen on the imaginary diagram I had shown you around 2 to 3 slides or 4 to 5 slides back, right, where there is a processor here. This is a processor, okay, and a signal line is connected to ZIN circuit. So it will be either 1 or 0, right, based on various clock cycle. When ZIN must be executed, then it will be 1, otherwise it will be 0. So now how this circuit can be designed? We know that if you write a equation, for a particular signal, then we can convert it into circuit, right? This is what you have studied in basic logic design, or what you call analog and digital electronics. So there is a circuit. See, T means time, okay, T means time or clock cycle. Okay, roughly we can say it is clock cycle for understanding purpose. Now we know that ZIN must be activated at first clock cycle T1, irrespective of any instruction, right? Because for every instruction at first clock cycle ZIN must be executed, that is common. Then if it is an add instruction, right, T6 at clock cycle 6 ZIN must be activated, right, that control signal must be 1. At branch instruction at clock cycle 4 ZIN must be 1, means ZIN must happen, or physically ZIN should be executed, right? Similarly, why there are dots? We don't know. There are 15 to 16,000 instructions in RISC machine, right? Around 1,000 instructions in a RISC machine based on various processor, there will be a huge number of different possible combinations of instructions called instruction set. In a instruction set, there are a lot of instructions. So go to every instructions and find out at which particular clock cycle that during that instruction ZIN must be executed, right? So based on that, we have written a logic equation or expression, right? So this is plus means or, dot means and, correct? No, if it is a add instruction and it is a 6th clock cycle, then only the signal must be 1. If it is a branch instruction and it is exactly 4th clock cycle of branch instruction, then only it should be 1, because I am designing a hardwired control for ZIN. Suppose if it is an add instruction and it is clock cycle is not 6th clock cycle, if it is a 5th clock cycle, then if ZIN becomes 1, then execution goes wrong. So we are designing, remember this add signal, right? If it is an add instruction and if it is a 6th clock cycle, then only it should be 1. If it is a branch instruction and it is a 4th clock cycle of the branch instruction, then only ZIN must be 1, control signal of ZIN must be 1. Or if it is a 1st clock cycle, doesn't matter which instruction. If it is a 1st clock cycle, then also it must be 1. And I have given OR. Why? OR because we don't know which instruction being executed, which instruction is under execution, we don't know. So generally I can say if it is add instruction and 6th clock cycle, ZIN must be 1, or if it is branch instruction and 4th clock cycle of the branch instruction, then ZIN must work, or if it is a 1st clock cycle of any instruction, then ZIN must be worked. So dot dot dot. See here you can see dots. Why? Because lot of instructions are there. For, for every 6 possible, if it is 15,000 combinations of instruction, 15,000 gates and gates you must use. Did you get this? So this is how we design it. Now if I clear all these things, okay. So here this is called hardwired control. Okay, this is called hardwired control. And what happens, that signal that we signal directly connect to the ZIN circuit, which is responsible to practically, electronically, physically execute ZIN. Means go to Z register, open the gate, allow ALU output to be enter ZIN or Z register, right? Other case, because that's how. See, when first clock cycle is running, you know, 1 clock cycle means, right? The one first clock cycle is first clock cycle. Doesn't matter which instruction, it becomes 1. So output of OR becomes 1. So during first clock cycle, ZIN activates. Means that circuit go to Z register, opens the gate, allow ALU output, enter Z. Okay. Then at the second clock cycle here, at the second clock cycle, this is first clock cycle, during second clock cycle of any instruction, okay, it may be 0, otherwise it will be 0. Why? It is not, if it is neither branch instruction nor add instruction or not any other instructions which ZIN is included, then all other time, second clock cycle it will be 0. Imagine now it is 4th clock cycle. 4th clock cycle, the signal might be 0 if it is not a branch instruction. If some other instruction is executing and for that instruction 4th clock cycle it do not require ZIN, then output will be 0. So this is how we design a signal, control signal for ZIN and give that control signal to ZIN circuit. Okay. So I can roughly tell you that this is the hardwired control for ZIN. Okay, and it will be there inside the processor, this entire circuit. And here there will be ZIN circuit which executes ZIN physically. So that signal is transferred 1 or 0 at every clock cycle. Okay, at every clock cycle. Okay, and it will be 1, signal will be 1 if, right, if at that particular clock cycle for that instruction which is under execution, ZIN must work. Okay. Now, so this I will explain the whole organization because I am explaining you only one basic step for ZIN. There are a lot of basic steps in a processor, maybe PC out, PC in, MAR out. We cannot simply list. Okay, there will be lot of basic steps. Okay, in 2 instruction like add and branch, we might have hardly seen 10 to 15 basic steps. but there will be lot of different basic steps. For every basic step there will be circuit to execute, right? Execute that basic step physically, there is a circuit. So only we have to design a hardwired control for that particular basic step and transfer 1 or 0 control signal to the particular circuit, right? So this is how it works for ZIN. Now let us see whole organization. So this is complete hardwired control organization. Okay. Okay, this is there is a one more extended version of this diagram. I will explain that diagram itself. Okay. Yeah, here. So in a hardwired control, there is a clock. Of course, processor has a clock, right? It is the time of the processor. So during execution of various instruction, every clock cycle different basic steps must be executed. So that's why there is a clock. So as clock keep ticking, right, there is a counter, so step decoder or step counter, right? So what is this step decoder does? So once an instruction start executing, it starts informing the encoder, here informing the encoder which clock cycle it is. Which clock cycle it is? Clock is ticking. When instruction starts executing, it informs encoder. So okay, this is the first clock cycle. Now this is the second clock cycle. Now this is the third clock cycle. Once that instruction gets executed, the clock counter will be reset. Because for every instruction, we start from the first clock cycle, right? The clock counter we start from the first clock cycle. So this is how it works. So this is basically reset. Okay, once a instruction is executed, how we come to know, processor comes to know that instruction has been executed, because we know that the last basic step of every instruction is end. If you are aware of control sequences, the last basic step, right, of every control sequence is the basic step called end. When basic step called end is under execution, that means entire instruction has been executed. So a signal, again one more control signal will be generated here. These are the control signals to indicate the counter that, right, this instruction is executed over. So now you start counting from again first clock cycle. Okay, so we don't keep counting clocks infinite number. For every instruction begins, when every instruction execution begins, we start from the first clock cycle. Okay, 1 2 3. So that's only reset. Okay, and why there is a run control signal? That is to stop counter or pause or play. Okay, while counting we can stop counter at the middle and then make it to continue. Okay, run means stop or run. Okay, why we need to stop or run a counter? That is during branch instruction it helps, and moreover it helps during memory fetch. Okay, I don't confuse you in all those things. I will explain at the end why there is stop, why we have to stop a counter in between and continue counting. See, we can stop a counter and start from the beginning, right? That is when instruction execution is over, we stop counting and start from the counting big from the beginning. That is first clock cycle. Again we start, because that is a new instruction. But even though it is not a new instruction, sometimes we stop the counter and continue the counting. Not, we don't restart, but we continue. Why? I'll explain at the end of this explanation. Now we'll go back to the basic concepts again. We have a counter, we have a step counter. Okay, what is decoder? Based on the counted step, decoder informs the encoder, that is step decoder. There are multiple decoders here. Okay, step decoder informs the encoder that which particular clock cycle it is right now. Okay, so we can see some signals here, T1, T2, T3. Do you remember the previous hardwired control ZIN nan ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, right? ZIN nalli T1, T2 signals use ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. I told you it is a clock cycle. Yes, see, when instruction starts execution, if it is a first clock cycle, T1 will be high, all remaining T2 up to Tn, everything will be 0. So if you remember ZIN hardwired control circuit, there was an AND gate, right? AND gate and OR gate. So just analyze that again. When T1 is 0, means if it is not the first clock cycle, all AND gates of ZIN will be 0. Right? We don't want that ZIN should work. Right? That's the thing. Right? Okay. but and we know that at T1 Z in must work. Okay, doesn't matter, Z in was just an example. um, Now, so at the second clock cycle T2 will be 1 and T1 and all other signals will be 0. So there are various signals here, T1, T2, T3, T4, that is at particular clock cycle that signal will be 1, because we are transferring that these signals we are transferring to, for example, T4, right? I will consider T4. I am transferring T4 signal to AND gate of Z in circuit, right? Z. What is the one more input for this AND gate of Z in hardware control circuit? One more input is here, branch. I cannot go back in this slide, so please go back to the diagram where I designed a small logic circuit for hardwired control to generate control signal of Z in, only Z in, right? There is a AND gate that takes two input, one is a T4 signal, one is a branch signal, right? Yeah. If it is a branch instruction under execution and if it is a T4, that is fourth clock cycle, then output of that AND gate will be 1. So that overall output of Z in will be 1, and that output of Z in, sorry, here is one of the control signal, right, which is connected to Z in circuit, which actually physically executes Z in. Did you get this? Okay, this is very important to understand, right? So this hardwired control circuit for generating control signal of Z in will be inside the processor. That means this encoder is inside the processor. Okay, encoder is part of the processor, right? So Z in again, now we have written one small circuit for Z in to generate Z in control signal. That circuit will be there inside the encoder. Hardwired control circuit for Z in will be there inside the encoder. Now, just like Z in, there will be different basic steps. So for every basic step we write logic, small logic to generate control, that is circuit we design using AND and OR gate. Using AND and OR gate we design small circuits to generate control signal for various basic steps, right? And all those signals circuits will be there inside all those hardwired control circuits will be there inside the encoder. It is very important, it is inside the encoder. Okay, from there, okay, one signal is connected to Z in, one more signal is maybe connected to MAR in. If you go to my imaginary diagram I explained at the beginning, maybe figure number 3 or 4, I don't remember. Okay, MR in, one more control signal will be there, maybe IR in, right? There are various circuits for basic steps. Every basic step has a circuit which physically executes that basic step, and control signal should be given to that, and it should be at various clock cycle it should be indicated whether that circuit should work or not. Did you get this is whole concept? See, an instruction register will be there. Within instruction register there will be instruction, and you know what is the format of instruction, it will be in binary, right? Everything works on binary. Instruction inside instruction register it will be in binary, and the binary code is called opcode. Opcode, right, is a binary format of the instruction. So these are the binary bits. Every line here represents individual binary bits of opcode of an instruction. If there is an add instruction here, it will be in binary ones and zeros. All these bits are transferred to the instruction decoder. Looking at these various bits, decoder circuit identifies which particular instruction is under execution or which particular instruction is there in the instruction register. Did you get this? I am explaining left part of this. Okay, I will erase everything. I hope this you have understand. Okay, yeah, let's see this. So when instruction is there in the form of opcode or binary data, all binary bits are read to individual binary, right? All binary bits are read, okay, by the instruction decoder from instruction register. Instruction decoder then looking at all binary bits, it identifies which particular instruction is there inside the instruction register. Then there are lines from instruction decoder to encoder here. Can you see these lines here? There are various lines here. Yeah, every line represent one instruction. If there are 15,000 possible combination of instructions, there will be 15,000 individual lines drawn from decoder to encoder. Suppose decoder understands that it is add instruction, then this particular line will be 1, high, higher, high, or 1. If decoder thinks that is a branch instruction, this second line will be 1. Now is it add instruction only one instruction? No. There are multiple possibilities of add instruction based on different addressing mode or different type of operands, right? I told you instruction set, right? All possible combinations of every instruction. So we cannot show all the different instructions, so we have used dot. So if it is a particular type of add instruction, instruction decoder reads instruction register where everything details will be there. Which instruction is this? Which is the operands for it? What are different operands? Which instruction is this? What are different operands? All those opcode details will be there in the instruction register. That is read by instruction decoder, and instruction decoder understand which instruction it is and which possible combination of operands. Okay, and that particular line is made high or 1. ಈ ಲೈನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? This line will be connected to small hardwired control circuits we have designed. Like one I explained you, Zdin ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, Zdin ತರಣ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, right? That's what I'm telling. Okay, here in hardwired control we design circuits for every basic step. So here point of discussion is every basic step. Okay, not a particular instruction. Remember, it is not because a basic step might be repeated in various instructions, like Zdin is there in every instruction, right? At the first clock cycle, Zdin must be executed for every instruction. Then if it is add instruction, Zdin must be executed at T6. If it is a branch instruction, Zdin must be executed at T4. So for Zdin circuit, whatever here is there, small Zdin circuit using AND and OR gates, so add instruction and T4 is connected, so T6 is connected to AND gate. Branch instruction and T4 is connected to AND gate. All these are connected to OR gate, and Zdin control signal is generated, which is connected to Zdin circuit, which physically executes Zdin. Now how many such circuits, small logic circuits will be there? How many basic steps are there? For every basic step there will be circuits to execute it physically. So all those circuits like Zdin irbodu, MAR in irbodu, or PC in irbodu, MAR out irbodu, all these have control signals. That's what I am telling in my that imaginary diagram I explained. Okay, so this is how it works. So I will conclude once again. Okay, so this diagram, there are various components here. Instruction register, which holds binary opcode of the instruction, which gives the details of which instruction it is and what are the possible combination of operands. That is, every bit of the instruction register or instruction opcode is read by instruction decoder, and instruction decoder identifies which possible combination of instruction it is. If it is add instruction, which particular add instruction, right? Then it makes a particular line representing that instruction as 1. Similarly, there will be clock where there is a counter and which it counts, right, which clock cycle it is. Once the instruction start executing, it starts counting every clock cycle from 1, right? During the execution of every new instruction, it is reset and start clock cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And step decoder, right, as getting information from step counter, step decoder comes to know that which clock cycle it is, and based on that particular signal, here there will be various signal to represent different clock cycle. If it is the first clock cycle, step counter makes T1 signal as 1 and all other as 0. If it is fourth clock cycle, T4 signal will be 1 and all other T signals, time signals will be 0. So that based on that, decoder can understand, right, which clock cycle is running. Also from the left side, here you can see for the encoder, sorry. So encoder here, the actual encoder here, it gets, right, which clock cycle is running, that information from the step decoder here, and which instruction it is, it will get from the instruction decoder. So encoder is nothing but for various basic steps, there will be separate small logic circuits we have written using AND and OR gates to generate the control signal. So and these are connected to that particular circuit, right? So overall, this organization for every clock cycle, it generates control signal for every basic step. Either it will be 0, that basic step should not be executed at that particular clock cycle of that particular instruction, or it will be 1, that means that basic step must be executed at that particular clock cycle for that particular instruction which is under execution. So every clock cycle all these control signals will be 1s or 0s. So this is how it works. Now let me, I hope you have understood this. Okay. If not, if there is any doubt, you can comment in the video. If possible, I will try to reply. So some external inputs are there, condition codes are there. We know all these things should be done because during execution of instructions we require external inputs, right? External inputs from various different input devices. So that also will be there, and also encoder is connected to condition codes, right? Flags, right? Based on the, because flags are used during execution of instructions, right? For various purpose. I have done a separate video on flags, maybe in second or third module. So is very important. Okay, condition codes are also connected. So it's, there is a small work. Go on and try to understand why condition codes are required to execute the and particular instruction. Because during branch instruction there will be some condition, right? Branch instruction, if R1 is less than 0, then only we have to execute something. Did you get this? Yeah. So then we'll go for reset. Reset is, once reset is used when a particular instruction is completely executed. So that clock starts counting from the first clock cycle again, 1. Otherwise reset is also used during successful branch execution, right? When branch instruction is executed, what is branch? Branch, we jump from next instruction to other instructions based on the branch. We know that, right? Branch instruction decides which instruction should be executed next. Correct? No? If it is a continuous sequence, straight forward sequence, top to bottom, if there is a branch instruction, right, then we have to decide based on the branch instruction whether we have to execute next instruction or some other instruction. So that's why during the branch instruction reset is used. Once a branch instruction is over, a new instruction will be fetched. No, that's why reset is used. Also there is a run instruction. There is a various use of run control signal here. It is called run bar stop. Okay, that means counting clock cycles we can stop and restart. Restart in this sense we can continue, like clock cycle 1, 2, 3. At the third clock cycle I want to stop counting. Then after some time I will continue from fourth clock cycle, 4, 5, 6. So why we have to stop clock cycle? This is one of the technique we use for memory fetch. We know that fetching a memory takes multiple clock cycles sometimes, right? It depends on where that address is, whether it is easy to find out particular data in the memory or all those things. There are various aspects. I am not discussing it. Just once there is a situation that when you fetch something from the memory for instruction execution, it takes multiple clock cycle. It may take multiple clock cycle, but it is thought to the processor during control sequence writing. If you look at the control sequence, if there is a memory fetch, we represent it in a single clock cycle. So for the processor, it is thought that every step of the control sequence must be executed in one clock cycle. But if there is a memory fetch, it takes multiple clock cycle to fetch the memory. Now how to adjust that? Otherwise our all circuits will go wrong. The circuits which derive control signals will go wrong. So that's why what we do is, imagine at the third clock cycle we have to fetch a memory. So at the third clock cycle, based on the hardwired control small logic using AND and OR gate we have designed, a control signal will be 1. That control signal will be 1 and given to a circuit. That control signal will be given to a circuit which is responsible to fetch the data from the memory. Okay. Now we know that it is a clock cycle 3 and it has gone to fetch a memory. So at the end of clock cycle 3, memory should be right. We should get data from the memory because we have to go for 4th clock cycle, right? Memory fetch must be completed in 1 clock cycle. So when memory is not fetched within that clock cycle, we immediately stop counting. So we will be there at 3rd clock cycle only. Okay, we will be there. Clock is running. We are just making an illusion. We are making an illusion for the processor that we are there in the 3rd clock cycle only. Clock cycle is running, but we just stop counting, right? Because clock is an individual circuit. through control step or counter or step decoder, we are informing encoder which clock cycle it is. So step at third clock cycle, memory fetch is started. It takes multiple clock cycles. Then we stop counting the clock. So we will tell every time encoder that it is only third clock cycle. Again we tell the encoder that it is third clock cycle only. It is third clock cycle only. As long as memory is fetch, right, under fetch. Once the memory fetch is complete, then we continue counting. Now we tell encoder that this is a fourth clock cycle. In between third clock cycle and fourth clock cycle, there will be multiple clock cycles have been passed out, right? But still we do not inform it. Okay, I hope you understood this. Stop and continuing the counter during the memory fetch. Okay, it's not that important, but still if you understand it, it will be better. So now I explained ZIN, how to design a small circuit, hardwired control circuit for ZIN signal, right, to generate control signal for ZIN, which derives or informs actual ZIN circuit which executes ZIN task physically. Now we will take one more example. Okay, of course this is a ZIN, right? Okay, I'll repeat again. Here there will be ZIN circuit. This is ZIN circuit which executes ZIN physically. Okay, opens Z gate, gate of the Z register, allows ALU output to enter Z. Okay, this is the circuit which is responsible to this. But every clock cycle, during every clock cycle, we have to inform this circuit whether you have to work right now this clock cycle or not. Right, every clock cycle. So that's why we have written a I'll call it as hardwired control logic circuit. Okay, a small circuit using AND gates and OR gate. For ZIN, only for ZIN, we have a lot of basic steps. I am explaining only ZIN. Now I will tell you I will give you one statement. I hope you can understand this. So this is a ZIN circuit. Okay, waiting for the control signal in every clock cycle, whether 0 or 1. When control signal is 1, ZIN happens physically, right? This circuit, I told you this circuit is inside the processor, but exactly where it is? It is exactly inside instruction, right, encoder. It is exactly inside the instruction encoder of the previous diagram, right? So T4, this T6 or this T1, all this will come from the step decoder. All this input will come from the step decoder. Then this branch and this add or any other instruction signal, it will come from the, right, instruction decoder from the left. That instruction decoder is connected to the instruction register IR. So this is the instruction decoder, right? It will tell which particular instruction it is, right? That particular signal will be 1. If it is a branch instruction, this branch signal will be 1. If it is add instruction, this add will be 1. Similarly, the steps, right, time or which clock cycle it is informed by the step decoder. And this entire circuit, right, this entire circuit is inside the instruction encoder. Okay, so you must be, this entire circuit will be instruction encoder, and ZIN circuit will be there which actually executes the ZIN task. Okay. Similarly, lot of thousands of basic steps are there. For everything we have to design such hardwired control logic circuits, small circuits which derives the control signal. All those small logic circuits will be there in the instruction encoder which is inside the processor. So I hope this everything is clear. If you are able to explain this diagram with my previous diagram where encoder decoders are there, that organization, and this diagram, if you try to fit, okay, this inside that previous diagram, then it means you have clearly understood. Similarly, there is one more example given, ZIN matrala nan ಹೇಳಿದೆ, there are a lot of basic steps. For everything we have to design small logic circuits. So along with ZIN they have also explained, I will go to next slide. So along with ZIN they have also explained end signal. See, end signal, you go see, there is a control sequence I have shown you in add, right? For add I had shown you a control sequence in my previous slides. Go and find in add instruction at clock 7th clock cycle, end has to be executed. At a branch instruction at 5th clock cycle, end must be executed. Similarly, they have taken one more example which is not explained in your textbook. This control sequence for conditional branch. Okay, this is control sequence for unconditional branch. Okay, ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Okay, no problem. You can just write it. Okay, so so this is how it works. See, for if it is add instruction and if it is clock cycle 7, then end control signal will be 1. Means there is a control circuit called here. There is a control circuit called end circuit, which actually, what is the work? Its work is electronically stop execution of an instruction. Means instruction has executed, it has to stop its execution. Okay, which flushes out IR register, which resets what is that? Which resets step counter. Did you get this? What is end signal? This end signal is given to step counter to reset the counter, because instruction is executed, end of the instruction anta. This is also one basic step, right? End is also basic step. So this is how they have designed. If it is a branch instruction at clock cycle 5, instruction execution is over. So after clock cycle, at the clock cycle 5, the end circuit gets control signal as 1. If it is add instruction at clock cycle 7, the control signal will be 1. Similarly, they have discussed here control conditional execution, which is not discussed in your syllabus but directly given in the diagram. Okay, so this end ಏನಂದ್ರೆ it will also connected to the counter, step counter, because end execute ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ once end basic step is executed, new instruction comes under execution, so step has to be recounted, right? Similarly, this end is also given for instruction register, connected to instruction register, this circuit, the end circuit, right, which physically executes end basic step. What does it mean, physically executing end basic step? Restarting the counter, also flushing instruction register, because there was previous instruction. Now we have to clear it, instruction register, so that new instruction can be placed. So this is one more instruction. So this is about hardwired control. Okay, overall thing, I think if you go through your textbook, see my explanation, I'll give a disclaimer here. The whole explanation about hardwired control here, okay, is I have restricted, okay, in for the exam point of view. So entire explanation in this video is restricted for exam point of view, unlike my all other videos. Okay, because hardwired control or microprogram control or overall generating control signal is very underlying concept of computer architecture. Okay, very underlying concept where physically or through hardware computer works. All above this we discuss everything, right, virtually. We write the program, we write the control sequences, we talk about memory, addresses, everything is, right, virtual concepts or programmatic concepts. Here physically how computer works, that is discussed. So it is very critical and very complex. You need to know lot of basic concept to understand how this underlying concept of computer architecture works. So that's why I have restricted my entire explanation to the exam point of view. Okay, so this is the end of hardwired control. There is also one more concept called microprogram control, where we do not create such small logic circuits, right? I'll show you. These circuits are not created, right? Inside the instruction encoder, such circuits for maybe every basic step, for AND irbodu, ZIN irbodu, every basic step we have to create such small logic circuits using AND and OR gate. It is a big burden, so we do not create any hardwired these logic circuits. Instead of there, it is microprogrammed. It is kind of a memory. Okay, in memory we store binary bits and try to generate control signals. Okay, we will go to microprogram control in my next video. Thank you.